They say silence doesn't always mean consent, but sometimes it doesn't mean refusal either. Sometimes it's just the space where decisions get made without words, where feelings slip past reason, and where everything you thought you knew about yourself shifts, one breath at a time. I didn't plan on anything happening. Not that night. Not ever. But the truth is, the moment had been building for longer than I cared to admit. And when it came, it felt less like a choice and more like a door I'd already left cracked open. The house was quiet except for the faint clatter of the dishwasher cycling through its rinse. Our son was asleep upstairs, tucked under the spaceship quilt I'd sewn last fall. My husband, Derek, had gone to bed early, as he always did when he had morning meetings. I was in the garage, walking Nate out, Derek's best friend. The man I never should have let follow me through that door. The garage door had just clicked shut when I felt it, Nate's presence behind me, too close. His hand brushed mine and I didn't move. He stepped in closer, the scent of grease, clean cotton, and something darker filling the small space between us. He didn't ask to touch me. His fingers found the hem of my shirt, lifted it just a little, and still I didn't move. I could hear the dishwasher, the ticking of the old wall clock in the kitchen, even the dull hum of the ceiling fan above us. But none of that noise reached the part of me that was frozen in something else entirely. What, maybe? Hunger. I don't remember who reached first. I just know that the moment his hands were on me, I didn't say stop, didn't even flinch. My back hit the warm hood of Derek's car, the metal still holding the heat of its last drive. Nate didn't say a word. His lips hovered by my ear, breath warm but still. He was waiting for the no, for the shove, for the reminder that this wasn't his. It never was. But I didn't give it. I just stood there, letting him take the space between us like it was always meant to be his. I told myself I was just tired, that the day had worn me down, that my silence didn't mean I wanted him. But when he kissed the skin just below my ribs, the place no one had touched in years, something inside me answered. Not desire. Not guilt. Just a need. I hadn't known how badly I'd been starving. He had stayed behind to lock the gate, or at least that's what he told Derek before I walked him out. And I had let him, not just into the garage but into the part of me I had been ignoring. The part that still wanted to be noticed. That still wanted to feel alive. The next morning, I made French toast like I always did on Saturdays. Derek sipped coffee at the kitchen island, asked about the grocery list. Our son was building Lego towers in the living room. Everything was normal on the surface. But I still felt the ghost of Nate's hand on my waist. Still felt the way my body had leaned toward him without hesitation. That night, when Derek kissed my shoulder in bed and whispered goodnight, I lay awake, remembering the pressure of Nate's chest against mine and how I hadn't asked him to stop. A few days later, it happened again. I had just finished folding laundry when I found a note in the mailbox. Folded, no envelope. Just a single line. Last night wasn't a mistake. But it doesn't have to happen again unless you want it to. There was no name, but I didn't need one. My fingers trembled as I held it, the words echoing louder than they should have. I could have torn it up. Could have burned it. Instead, I slipped it between the pages of a cookbook I hadn't touched in 6 months, buried it like a secret I wasn't ready to let go of. The next time, I was doing dishes. The back door hadn't shut all the way and it creaked open. I knew it was him before I turned. He didn't speak at first, just stepped close enough that I could feel the air shift. I said without turning, "You said it didn't have to happen again." His voice was quiet behind me, almost too soft. "And you didn't lock the door." That broke something in me. Not the marriage, not the moment, but whatever boundary I thought I still had left. He stepped closer. No contact yet. Just pressure in the air, like gravity was rearranging itself around us. When he brushed my arm, my body didn't pull back. It leaned, as if it had been waiting. He whispered near my shoulder, "You keep leaving space for me." I didn't deny it. I couldn't. I just closed my eyes for a second too long. And then he touched me. Not rough, not hurried. Just enough. A hand on my back, warm, steady. I should have told him to go. But instead, I said, "Don't talk like that." Not because it wasn't true, but because it was. When I turned to face him, our shoulders brushed. His eyes searched mine, not for permission, but for something else. Recognition, maybe. I saw it, and I hated how deeply I felt seen. He said, "I wish I hadn't waited this long to want you." I pressed my hand to his chest, felt his heartbeat beneath it. And I told myself that if I didn't kiss him, maybe it wouldn't count. Maybe it wasn't real. But he leaned in, just his forehead touching mine, like he was praying. I let him. My fingers slid up his arm, slow, reluctant. But they didn't stop. When it finally happened, it wasn't fast. It was careful. Like he wasn't stealing anything, just receiving something already offered. We didn't speak after. He straightened my shirt. I smoothed my hair. He left through the garage, and 5 minutes later, Derek came down with a towel around his neck, kissed my forehead like nothing had changed. But everything had. That night, I sat on the laundry bench and let myself remember it, not because I missed Nate, but because I missed the version of me that came alive under his touch. That remembered how it felt to be noticed, desired, needed. A few days later, Derek asked me if I was happy. We were brushing our teeth. The mirror was fogged in the center. I didn't look at him when I answered. Just nodded. Said yes. Lied. I found Nate's shirt behind the washer the next morning, the one I swore I threw out. It still smelled like his cologne, his sweat, the mix of something intimate and wrong. I struck a match, burned it in the sink, but the smell stayed. In the walls. On my skin. In the folds of my memory. The garage light flickered that night. I hadn't seen Nate in days, but my body still responded like he was near. Still tensed at the sound of footsteps. Still reached in the dark when I was sure no one was looking. And I hated myself for it. Later that week, I opened the drawer of the nightstand in the guest room. The note was still there. Folded. Unread. But I didn't throw it away. I tucked it deeper, like a door I might still walk through. I sat in the dark living room and held our wedding photo in my lap. Derek's smile was bright, real. So was mine. And for a moment, I hated that. Hated that we had once been clean, honest, untouched. Because now I wasn't. If someone breaks something in you that you secretly wanted broken, who's to blame? I don't have the answer. I just know I stood by the front door, held the picture, and let the night air brush my skin like it could erase the past. It didn't. And I didn't step outside. But I didn't close the door either.